Welcome to another episode of the Goddess Sugar Podcast. I trust that you are arriving in gratitude, love, and all the magic the universe has to offer because you are very much magical. A gentle reminder before we dive in, everything that I speak about on my podcast comes from my personal truth, experiences, and journey. Take what resonates with your spirit and leave what doesn't. This is a space for exploration and not perfection. Trust your own path and let's walk this magical journey together. Before any episode, I think it's important for me to acknowledge the people and the forces that have brought me here today. Thank you to my divine pantheon for trusting me with your ancestral wisdom. Thank you to Spirit for being all things. Thank you to the universe for holding the cosmic beauty of our infinity. Thank you to my ancestors who walked before me. Thank you to my sacred guides for holding my hand every step of the way. Thank you to my family, friends, mentors, teachers, and the collective who support me in this physical realm. And thank you to myself for daring to live as the goddess that I am. Hello, my goddesses. What is going on? I missed you. Okay, I missed the mic. As you can tell, I actually got a new mic. I'm trying it out. I don't know. I may go back to my old one. But this one is so cute. Like, it's my little mushroom mic. So we're trying it out for that, for this episode. We gonna see how she do. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sold, but we gonna see how she do. Welcome back to Goddess Sugar, your sanctuary for divine remembrance. Remembering who the fuck you are. That's what we do. All right, today is a wake-up call conversation because I need you to understand who you are and what you are. You are source. You are God, goddess in human form. That is what we're getting into. Please understand that the world is not running you. You are running the world. You just don't remember. So take a deep breath, soften, okay, into your body, and let's remember who the fuck we are. And as always, before we actually get into talking, I have to do my announcements. Do not be afraid to comment, share, tap into the polls, okay? I like to see where y'all are at. Also, your girl, I logged in, and I finally created a website for the Goddess Sugar podcast. So it's all in one space, okay? And it will take you where you need to go. So go ahead and check that out. I will definitely drop the link below. If you want to chill with me some more, follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Do not be afraid to join my Patreon as well. That is where I drop all of my manifestos, my ebooks, everything, my rituals, everything. If you want all the cosmic goddess vibes, y'all need to be on the Patreon. I've been telling y'all. I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned that, and like I said, I will drop all of that below. But I know y'all ready to get into the conversation. Y'all like, girl, we need you to talk. Okay, we've been waiting, so let's get into it. As of recently with my episodes, I've been wanting to kind of give y'all a little bit of background about how I decided this is what I'm going to talk about. When it comes to you remembering who you are, it's remembering your divinity. So the crazy thing is people say, or people think it's crazy when people like call themselves gods or goddesses, right? But please remember, like, God or source or whatever you want to call it is in all things. Therefore, it is in you, right? So you are God, goddess. God and goddess is you. So the reason why I got into this topic, though, is because I was thinking about traditionally, the new year is celebrated in January, right? Now, me, I'm not too crazy about that. I really recognize the new year when the new moon in Aries happens because I look at the zodiac, like that's how I look at it. But I personally feel like it doesn't matter when you recognize New Year. You know what I'm saying? Because you can also say the New Year is when your birthday is. I don't know. It's really up to you. But yeah, so how I look at it as is like when the spring equinox comes around, like that really registers in my mind, like this is a new year. But when January 1st comes around, and really when the winter solstice comes around, so that's a little bit before then, I like to use winter as a preparation time for the new year. But the reason why am I talking about this, right? Like, why am I bringing this up is because, everybody on January 1st, and like, I'm gonna have these New Year's resolutions, like it's a new me, okay? And look, I'm all for that. Like, new year, new you, do you. However, though, where I see a lot of the kind of frustration comes when people set New Year's resolutions is that people set New Year's resolutions, or they say, I'm going to be this new person, new thing, but they are still on the same operating system. What do I mean by operating system? Okay, operating system, you still go into the new year with the same habits, the same actions, the same inner dialogue, the same inner beliefs, right? But you have set this thing for yourself. You're going to be a new person. There's going to be these new things, but you still are operating on the same basis of a version of yourself that you're technically trying to outgrow. Also, what I think too is that a lot of people are not tapped into their power of their infinity. Don't get me wrong, we all are having a human experience, right? So we still experience these human things that happen in this world, but that does not take away from the fact that we are source, literally source in a human form, having a human experience. A lot of people, they set these manifestations out and they may not see the results from it because they're in the same loop. So it's all about really going back and reprogramming your operating system or updating, however you want to see that. So let's get into it. When I'm saying that you are the operant power, I'm meaning that truly nothing outside of you is controlling your life, okay? It really all starts with you. What I mean by that is the world is actually neutral. Think about a blank canvas. There's nothing on that canvas. You are the artist. Therefore, when you're given this canvas, the reality, your day, it's blank. And then you start to feed it or paint it with your inner dialogue. Not about yourself, but what you believe about the world. You know what I'm saying? So in a very simple sense, if you are one that believes the world is a bad place, that's how you will experience it. If you believe the world is a good place, that's how you will experience it. Because we're all having an experience. That's how you really have to think about it. Because honestly, there could be two people that have the same exact life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like same job, same family, same background, demographic, whatever. But they can have totally different experiences. The circumstances that are going on or the people that you experience, they're simply just responding to you and what's inside. Think about your mind, like kind of think about it like a projector in a sense, right? So whatever's going on in here is just going to show up on the projector screen. That's what I mean by you are the operant power, because it's you. You know what I'm saying? The world is responding to you. And as far as you being connected to your divinity in that way, when you really understand your power and when you really understand that God, the universe, spirit is in everything and in everyone, it really starts to change the way that you look at things. That's why in one interview that I did some months back, I was explaining that when I go outside and I see a tree or I see the water or I see a building, I technically just see myself, right? We are all mirrors of each other, which is so crazy to think about. Like I like to think about it like that, what do you want to call it? Not game, but you know, like when you go to like carnivals and stuff and they have like those houses, it's like a hall of mirrors or whatever. That's literally like how the world is and how we are interacting with each other. We all mirror each other in some way. That's literally how infinite it is. How you see yourself determines how life co-creates with you. Depending on what's going on in here is typically what you're going to experience on the external. It all starts internal first. It always starts within. And the reason why I wanted to make note of that is because we're always taught to seek outside of ourselves, right? Like seek all of these things that we want to be connected to. But really what that has conditioned us to be is separated. Because if you're always looking outside of yourself, then that means that there's no validation or confirmation within. It all starts within and everything then will start to show up on your external. I wanted to bring a important factor into this mirror that we call the world. Your emotions are such a big part of that. It's such a big part of the baseline. Your emotions and your nervous system really go together, because also how you experience the world is how your nervous system is feeling. If your nervous system does not feel safe to receive, good things, if it doesn't feel safe to receive the world in a way that is calming for you, that is good for you, that is positive, then it cannot hold that, right? It doesn't, because it's not at capacity to hold that. That goes into why there's so much conditioning at a young age. It's to play on your emotions. Think about, for example, the news. They use that to play on your emotions. So all these bad things that you hear on the news, like
it's just something after something, right? Especially if you live in America. But the thing is, low key, it's playing on your emotions. So literally people turn on the news at 8 o'clock in the morning or whatever. It's all these things. Do you know what that does to your nervous system? That tells your nervous system, when I go out of this door and I leave out for work or whatever, like, it's a chaotic place. That's what your nervous system is trained to remember. Because if you can play on someone's emotions and you can really get to their nervous system, they're easily controlled and they're easily manipulated. I believe that's why there is such a conditioning or like warfare on the body, because this is why I say that. Because the body, if you can get the body to be in dysregulation most of the time, 9 times out of 10, that person's mind is also going to be dysregulated. You have to be aware of that type of conditioning. First, you have to acknowledge it, and then you need to reframe the narrative that you have of yourself and of the world. The way that I like to remember this, because I tell myself this like literally all the time, your beliefs shape your thoughts. Your thoughts then shape your words. Your words then shape your actions. And your actions then shape your habits. And your habits then shape your life. So I like to remember that chain. So if we look at our emotions and we look at our beliefs as the baseline, then we can start to, when we change that foundation, then we can start to change other things. So that is why I personally am such a big advocate for changing your inner dialogue. You have to remember, the person that you talk to the most every day is yourself. Depending on what you're feeding yourself and the conversations that you're having with yourself, that is going to manifest in physical form, right? So if your mind, if your heart is always full of negative self-talk and negative beliefs you have about yourself, that is what your life will literally become, versus someone who talks positive to themselves all the time and has a very solid self-concept. They experience the world differently. It's not the world happening to you. It's how you're allowing yourself to experience the world through your beliefs, because this human experience is simply what you make it. Your beliefs are the driving force, and your words and your inner dialogue is what is programming your subconscious. And the thing is, this is so important because even little things that you may not think like, oh, that, like that's not big. I didn't really mean that. But if that's something you're saying all the time, because the mind works with repetition. Like I told y'all, the mind really cannot decipher what's real or fake. It's what are you feeding it? What are you repeating to yourself? Our timelines, like on Instagram or TikTok, that's your feed. Okay. But your feed now, it's really like, what are you interested in? What are you always looking at? It shows you things that it's picked up that you're interested in, or that, well, now these phones, they be listening, but things that you're constantly talking about, that shows up on your feed. And then you're scrolling through your feed, you're feeding your mind. You get what I'm saying? So you have to be the operant power and be in control of your feed. What are you allowing yourself to be fed? The basis of that starts with your inner dialogue. What are you telling yourself? Not what other people are telling you. What are you telling yourself? What are the thoughts that are always playing through your mind? Those are the ones that are going to manifest the quickest. Going back to that artist analogy, you are in control. The canvas is not in control. It's the artist. The artist decides what's going to go on that canvas. With reprogramming your mind and your beliefs, that can literally happen in an instant. That does not take time. You literally decide, I'm going to be a different person, and that's just what it is. And anything that's not aligned with that, you throw it away. People think that when it comes to manifestation, that it's something that you have to try so hard for and that you have to like force. No. Manifestation actually happens with ease, and it happens when you choose a new identity. So whatever you are trying to manifest, right? Whatever you are remembering, that is yours already, period. You have to ask yourself, what identity matches that manifestation, and be that. The easiest way to do this, you choose the identity, and anything that's not aligned, you simply do not entertain it, because that's also the other thing. When people are trying to manifest, but you continuously entertain things that are not aligned with the identity that you're shifting into, you're sending messages. So if y'all really want like that quick hack, that's literally what it is. Like, it's nothing too hard. You have to understand that there are infinite realities. There's a reality where you are rich and you have all the millions in the world. There's a reality where you are with your divine partner. There's a reality where you're living your best life. Like, all of them exist all at once. You choose, you select. And when I literally just said that, I thought about, when you're playing Mario Kart, and like you select the character, you select the cart, you select the little like gadgets that go on it and shit like that. Think about yourself as that type of gamer. You are the selector. Select the reality that you want, select the identity that you want, and call it a day. As the operant power, you have to understand your abilities to reprogram at any time. So the way I like to think about this is that reality is this simulation. Let's think about that. And it's running on a code. It's a program that's running on a code. The code is your beliefs and your words. So your job right now is to change the code that changes the program, okay? So you have the canvas, change the paint that goes on it, change the designs that go on it. And it starts with you making the decision. Like, it simply starts with deciding, no more. I'm doing something new. I have a clean slate. It doesn't matter about the circumstances. And I think that's what kind of discourages people sometimes too. Like, when it comes to them wanting to identity shift, is because maybe you feel like the circumstances are not working to your favor. Please understand, you could change that at any time. You always have room to reinvent. You always have room to pull out a new canvas and start over. That's what I love just about life in general. You can always reinvent yourself. And you can decide that instantly. But here's also what I want to say. As far as the 3D is the last to catch up. So that is where we experience lag time. And I know it's not always the most fun thing to experience, especially when you are wanting to manifest something, but I honestly have started to really see time differently, because I can even be that way. I'm like, hold on, I want this thing, or like, I want to do this. And I'm like, dang, but the 3D is lagging, it's lagging, it's lagging. But like I just said, how making a decision is instant. Imagine if we were able to live life instantly like that. It wouldn't be as fun. And what would be the point of living? If you could just get everything and life could go like that, there'll be no point. Time is a great tool in the human experience, because spirit in the universe, they can move quick. They can be like, oh, you want this? I got you. Because everything is energy, right? That can move quickly. But the reason why we experience time on this level is to get us to slow down and enjoy the ride. Wow, something just came to me, because that also made me think of the connection to feminine energy in that way, because I've even talked about that. Like, being your feminine is allowing yourself to slow down. It's allowing yourself to be. I literally just thought about it. Wow, spirit is giving us this space, to also experience the feminine energy in that way. Enjoy the process. Tips for my divine beings that are moving in their operant power consciousness. Here's one thing, well, a few things actually, that I want to mention to you. So when it comes to the power of manifestation and just in life, you have to understand that detachment is an art. So when you put it out there into the universe, okay, this is what I want, then you, as the operant power, when you actually know you're in your infinity, you understand that it's already done. When I say it, when the itch comes on my heart, it's already done. It's already mine. So therefore, you don't have to hold on to it. You don't have to grip onto it so hard, right? You can reinforce it, feel into it, feel into, having this thing or being in this reality, but don't hold on so hard to it that it can't breathe, it can't move. It's just like holding sand. If you hold on too tight, all that sand starts to fall out. You don't want to do that. So I'll learn the art of detachment when it comes to your manifestation and moving in your power. This is a huge one that I love, and I did mention it a little bit before, but understand that repetition collapses resistance. And that is a main reason why I make sure to say my manifestos every day because the repetition, I told y'all, the brain works with repetition. That is why they say practice makes perfect, because think about it. The more you keep doing something, it becomes what? It becomes second nature. So if you're repeating to yourself, and that's why it's also important to really say your manifestos or your affirmations or whatever you're saying in the mirror, whatever you are trying to program, make sure you're saying them in the mirror, because now it's bouncing off. You're repeating and it's bouncing off that mirror and it's reflecting back to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about it that way. But what I mean by repetition collapses that resistance, because the thing is, sometimes, when people are trying to identify with something new, you may not believe it at first. Like, oh, like, who am I to, say this? Who am I to think this big? But keep doing it. Keep doing it anyway. Even during the times that you do not believe, keep doing it. Keep doing it, because like I said, it will become second nature. So for example, if you decide, I'm a rich girl, I'm a lucky girl, right? Keep saying it. Keep saying it, keep saying it, keep saying it. Even when the 3D may not be showing you that, keep saying it. And that's another thing I want to add. Y'all cannot get caught up in the 3D. That's what gets people too. It's like, oh, I'm saying this one thing, but the 3D is not showing it. I just told y'all, the 3D lags. It's slow. It's slow as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, it lags. So you got to remember that you cannot allow what's happening on the 3D to change your inner dialogue or what you're believing about yourself or about your life. You got to keep going with it. Eventually, that resistance collapses. Why? Because that resistance is feeding off your old program. It's feeding off your old identity. But the more that you keep telling yourself, no, we're somebody new. No, we're somebody new. No, we're somebody new. It collapses that shit. Because that resistance can no longer feed on those lower frequencies. You have to collapse that resistance. Okay? So whatever your old program was running off of, whatever you told yourself, whatever lie, illusion, narrative you fed yourself, you have to collapse that first before your new identity can truly stabilize and you experience that new reality. Reality responds to what you assume, okay, and what you expect, not what you hope for. So think about it this way. If something's going on and you're like, oh, I hope for this to happen. If you always are like sitting in that energy of like, oh, I hope this happens, especially when it does have that doubt behind it, then it's kind of like you're just like sitting and waiting and waiting and waiting instead of declaring and claiming as the operant power that you are. So if you assume things are going to work out in your favor, if you assume that lucky things happen to you all the time, if you assume that you can get anything that you want, reality will literally start to show you that. And it's like, oh shit, it's lit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really lit. If you assume that your divine pantheon, that your divine team is protecting you and that they are making sure everything is working out on your behalf, that is what's going to show. I told y'all, think about this projector screen in your mind. That's all this is. And also think about the fact that you are the universe experiencing itself. I'm really thinking about the movie Interstellar. If you've seen that before, literally I cry every time I watch that movie because it's so deep and profound. And it's one of those movies where every time you watch it, you like get a new fucking download. And I'm thinking about, was it called the Tesseract? Don't quote me on. I don't know if that's what it was called. But the little cube he went into when he was going to like talk to his daughter through the bookcase. But I'm thinking about the shapes that were being formed. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But I'm thinking about the shapes that were being formed in that cube or whatever it was, and the way, like, y'all remember the way it kept folding in on itself? Like, it was like this. That's literally what the universe is, and you are a part of that. So you see how like small and big we are at the same time? I'm sorry, it's my Life Past 7 coming out. You have to assume that things are going to work out for you. You have to assume that you came here to have a great fucking life. I tell myself that every day. I came here to live a good life, okay? Like, none of that BS. Like, I came here to live as the goddess that I am, and you did too. Old realities dissolve when you stop narrating them. So you know how pretty much with everything and anything in life, you have a story behind it. There's a narrative that you're telling yourself about maybe a certain group of people, or maybe about a place, or maybe about your life, right? There's a narrative that you have. There's also a narrative that you have about yourself. So what I challenge you to do, write out your narrative. Maybe go in your journal or maybe voice record, whatever is good for you. What is your personal narrative? What is your self-concept? Who are you? And think about what comes to mind when I'm asking you these questions. So be honest, take some time, ask yourself, who are you? Also ask yourself, who did people tell you to be? Because that also plays into your narrative. And see, does this truly align with what you believe or what you want to believe about yourself? And that is the starting point of things changing for you. Because once you know what your narrative is, then you have the power to change it, because we've gotten to the root, right? This is something I've had to do. This is why I'm challenging you all to do this, because I've had to do this. I've had to literally go in. Go all the way in and figure out, what was I telling myself? What was I truly believing about myself? What was the story? What was the mask that I was wearing? I had to face myself in the mirror crying. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is not. No, I don't like this narrative. But the beautiful thing is that I understood that I had the power to change it. And when you put in the work to change it, then you will see that being reflected on your 3D. With you understanding that you are the operant power and that you are source, your nervous system and your body is such a big part of that. That is why the physical and the spiritual have to coexist, because your physical body is the encapsulation for your spirit, for this energy, for this infinity. You have to allow your body space. It's safe for you to remember that you are infinite. You are love. You are whatever you try to seek externally, that is already within you. Because what does infinity mean? That's never ending, babe. At a young age, our bodies were conditioned not to feel safe. And a lot of people miss this part of manifestation. Whatever you're trying to manifest, whatever you're trying to be, your body and your nervous system has to feel safe enough to hold it. Because if it doesn't feel safe enough to hold it, it's going to drop it, right? So that also comes with allowing your body ease, unlearning survival mode. A lot of people are in survival mode, and it's seen in the way that they act, in the way that they operate, right? And that's something it takes time to, unlearn. I would even say myself, I'm still, unlearning little things that were tied to survival mode living, because we don't want to survive. That's not how we want to live life. We want to thrive, okay? Because I was even thinking, like, damn, if you're lucky, you get 1 century to live. If you really think about it, 100 years old, right? You get a century. But we see how fast that goes. So it's like, do we want to spend our time just surviving? I don't want to live that way. I thoroughly enjoy thriving in my life, actually savoring, smelling those roses that we talked about. Your body has to feel safe enough to hold whatever you want. Not only that, but it has to feel safe enough to let go. So a lot of people talk about feeling safe enough to hold, your manifestations, to show up differently, but nobody really talks about the fact that you also have to feel safe enough to let go, to surrender. You have to feel safe enough to let go and surrender and know that you are held in your transition to your new identity. It's all about teaching yourself that. Really remembering that you are safe. And I also challenge you, in addition to your narrative, write out what makes you feel safe in all the ways. And when you're writing that out and when you're thinking about that, try to incorporate more of that into your life. I know that's helped me a lot, incorporating more ease and safety into my life. What makes my nerves feel like, okay, we rocking. You have to figure out what that is for you, One last gem that I want to drop as you are remembering yourself as the operant power and that you run this, okay? You don't have to chase any proof. It's already done. When you feel like you have to chase proof, you're assuming that you're lacking something. And that's another thing. Many people don't even realize that that they're trying to manifest from a state of lack. But if you believe that you are infinite and that you are the infinite power, that means you lack nothing. Okay? Period. You lack nothing. So that is the energy you want to come with when it comes to, shifting your life. You lack nothing. And like I said, it doesn't matter what the 3D is saying. Everything is energy at the end of the day. And if you believe that you are infinite energy, that means you have all things. You have access to all things. The confirmation is you. That's what I'm saying. Like in basic terms, you are the confirmation. You are the sign. Your energy, your life. Spirit is in everything. The universe is in everything. So as we close this out, you have some things to think about. And I really wanted to make sure that I put out this topic around this time because we have about 7-8 weeks before, like I said, New Year. Winter is the time to recalibrate, y'all. And that's the thing. I've come to really love winter because I still don't fuck with the cold. I don't think I ever will. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you live like in Chicago. Like Chicago. No, we can hold on. I'm not gonna lie though. Chicago doing good this year though, y'all. It hasn't been as cold as it usually can get. So I have to be grateful. But anyway, what I was saying was winter is a time for recalibration. And it's a time for you to get clear on what you want and who you want to be. That's why winter causes us to go inward, because we're going inward and we're getting rid of what no longer aligns. That's why also death is associated with winter, not just in like a literal sense, but what parts of yourself do you need to shed? You know what I'm saying? What parts do you need to, okay, we done. It did its job. Let's go. Because spring comes around, we're ready to bloom. We're ready to go. And you know, they saying 2026 is the year of the fire horse. And baby, that sounds like a lot of, let's get to it. It sounds like a lot of we're not playing around. We're moving. Shit is moving. I'm thinking about like a racehorse on fire. That's what I think about when I hear 2026, year of the fire horse. I'm telling y'all this so that you can remember what you're living, your life. That's your world. You run it. Let's get it. Let's stop playing victim. Let's stop doing all the BS. Let's stop living in the same loop. Okay, and let's choose something different. You always have the power to do that. And I'm just reminding you, boo, goddess, please remember that the mirror is neutral. You are the power. You don't need to fight reality. You need to speak it differently. Choose your beliefs like they matter, because they do. And your life literally depends on it. Thank you for being here today with me. Thank you for remembering. And thank you for always choosing you. Until next time, stay soft, stay sovereign, and stay sweet.
Stay calm. And remember, even when life tries to throw salt in your sugar, be a goddess anyway. Peace and blessings. Much love. Ciao, ciao. Ashe. Until next time, love. XOXO.